If debt were only about interest rates, then paying it off would be simple math. But that's not how it feels. Debt feels heavy. It feels stressful. It feels personal. Two people can have the same balance, the same income, the same interest rate, and one feels calm while the other feels trapped. So what's the difference? It's not the numbers, it's the psychology. And in this video, we're going to uncover why debt feels so heavy, why it drains your energy, even when you're not paying it, and how to remove the mental weight before the balance hits zero. Because when you fix the psychology first, the math becomes easier to handle. Welcome to Money Mindset Lab. Today we're talking about debt, not as a spreadsheet problem, but as a psychological one. And if you've ever felt shame, fear, avoidance, or anxiety around debt, this video is for you. Let's start with something most people don't realize. Debt creates a constant background noise in your mind. Even when you're not thinking about it, your brain is. It's there when you wake up. It's there when you spend money. It's there when you try to relax. That's because debt is not just money owed. It's an open loop. Your brain hates open loops. Anything unfinished, anything unresolved creates mental tension. That tension is called cognitive load, and debt is one of the heaviest forms of it. Here's why. When you owe money, your brain treats it like a threat, not a physical threat, but a survival one, because debt is associated with loss of control, loss of freedom, and future uncertainty. So your nervous system stays slightly activated. That's why debt feels exhausting, even when nothing is happening. You're carrying it mentally all the time. Now, let's talk about the first psychological weight of debt: shame. Debt is one of the few financial topics people feel embarrassed about, even when it's common. You don't usually say, "Hey, I'm in debt. How about you?" Instead, people hide it. They avoid talking about it. They avoid looking at it, and shame does something dangerous. It turns a solvable problem into an avoided one. Avoidance feels like relief, but it makes the anxiety stronger over time. That's why many people don't open their bank app, don't check balances, don't look at statements, not because they don't care, but because looking hurts. And when pain is involved, the brain chooses delay. Here's the second psychological weight: identity. Debt doesn't just say you owe money. It whispers you failed, you made bad decisions, you're behind. And when debt attaches to identity, people stop seeing it as temporary. They start seeing it as who they are. That's when motivation drops, because it's hard to fix something. When you believe, it defines you. Now let's talk about interest rates. Yes, interest matters, but interest is not what keeps people stuck. What keeps people stuck is emotional overwhelm. When a balance feels big, the brain freezes. It says, "What's the point? This will take forever. I'll never get ahead." That feeling has a name: learned helplessness. When effort feels disconnected from progress, people stop trying, not because they're lazy, but because their brain doesn't see a reward. This is why some people make minimum payments for years, even when they could do more. Minimum payments feel safe. They feel non-threatening, but psychologically, they keep the loop open, which means the stress never ends. Now here's the most important insight of this video. Debt feels heavy because your brain experiences it as a loss of future freedom. Every dollar owed feels like a promise you already spent. So future income feels smaller, even before it arrives. That's why people with debt often feel broke, even when they're earning more than before. Their future money already feels taken. So how do we fix this? Not by starting with math, by starting with psychology. Step 1. Remove ambiguity. The brain fears the unknown more than bad news, so clarity reduces anxiety. This means one thing: you need a single, clear view of your debt. Not 5 apps, not random statements, not guessing. One list: balance, interest rate, minimum. That's it. No judgment, no drama, just visibility. Because what you can see, you can control. Step 2. Shrink the problem psychologically. Large numbers overwhelm the brain, so don't focus on total debt. Focus on the next win, the next payment, the next milestone, the next balance drop. This is why the snowball method works for many people, even when it's not mathematically optimal. It gives the brain progress, and progress fuels motivation. Step 3. Separate debt from identity. Debt is something you have, not something you are. Say this clearly. I am not my balance. I am not my past decisions. I am someone fixing a problem. This shift matters more than it sounds, because when identity changes, behavior follows. Now let's talk about emotional debt triggers. Most debt doesn't come from logic. It comes from emotion, stress spending, reward spending, avoidance spending. So if you want to stop creating new debt, you need to understand your triggers. Ask yourself, when do I spend to feel relief? When do I spend to feel in control? When do I spend to escape discomfort? Awareness breaks the cycle. Now here's a powerful reframe. Debt payoff is not punishment. It's protection. Every payment is buying back freedom. Every reduction is lowering mental load. That's why some people feel lighter, even before debt is gone, because their brain senses progress. Let's make this practical. Here's a simple psychological debt reset. Step 1, list all debts in one place. Step 2, choose one focused debt, not all of them, just one. Step 3, attach meaning to payments. Don't say, I'm paying debt. Say, I'm reducing mental weight. I'm buying peace. I'm closing an open loop. Language matters. Now let's address something important. What if your debt is large and progress feels slow? Then your job is not to rush. Your job is consistency. Consistency tells your brain this is handled. And when the brain feels safety, stress decreases. Here's something most people don't expect. As debt decreases, decision-making improves. That's because cognitive load drops. You think clearer, you plan better, you spend less impulsively. Debt payoff improves behavior, not just finances. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by debt, start here. Not with shame, not with fear, with clarity, with structure, with small wins. Fix the psychology, and the math will follow. Here's your challenge. This week, look at your debt. Once. Just once. Write it down. Choose one action. Make one payment above minimum, even small, and notice how you feel afterward. Not the balance, the feeling, because that's where real progress begins. If this video helped you, subscribe to Money Mindset Lab. Every week we break down the psychology behind money and build habits that actually stick. And comment one word, clarity, because clarity makes debt lighter, even before it's gone. See you in the next one.